come into a seat. Before you get too comfortable, just kind of round up some household items. If you have a bolster and some blocks, those are always really helpful. Otherwise, I like to have a couple of blankets rolled up on hand, towels, books, like anything that's gonna help close the gap between you and the ground below you, so that you can totally puddle into the earth, and so that you're not over efforting. All right. So once you have your collection of items, let's just start in a seat. And if you're cross-legged, try to cross the opposite shin out front and grow into your spine. So I like to almost visualize like a thread coming down from the sky above, down through the center of the crown, down along the spine, through the heart, kind of just like making contact with all these vital pieces, down through the base of the spine, through our root, through the earth. And then you can wrap your attention around this golden thread. I guess I just decided that it's a golden thread. And kind of from the center of you to the edges of you start to soften. It's as though each exchange of the breath allows us to shed a layer. So if there's anything, and this can mean a lot of things, but if there's anything on an energetic level that is feeling dense and has found a home in your skin, or found a home in your heart rate, or found a home in your lungs, so it has become harder to breathe, take a moment to acknowledge what it is that you're experiencing, and then as best as you can, from the conscious state of things, soften your grip on any of that noise if that is present for you. So that the body can receive a little bit more clear air, oxygen, prana, life force. And so that it can release it all the same without any gripping or holding. And I'll just, let you do your thing for a few moments here, breathing and grounding with less words and just more feeling. Stay soft and settled internally, and just ask what it is that your experience is right now. Are you in thought? And if yes, that's okay. Or are you in an emotion? And if yes, that's okay. And are you in a sensation? Is there a feeling in this physical body that is calling your attention? And none of these answers, if they're a yes or a no, are right or wrong. We're kind of here just to learn what happens when things get quiet, when things go still. But it's worthwhile, since we've arrived, to practice, if we're in the thoughts, to practice a kinder inner dialogue. If we're in sensation and sensing, to feel into the things that remind us that we are alive, the feeling of where the breath is landing, the pulse underneath of our skin, the touch of the air on our bodies, the force of gravity on our bones. If we're in an emotion, And if we're really viscerally feeling what we feel, know that there's space for that. And I've heard somewhere along the way that if you sit with anything long enough, it shifts into joy. So all of these are just kind of invitations to remind you, me, us, that if we arrive here with a willingness to have a true and honest experience, and if we have the willingness to align and realign, and maybe we can come into this space of levity, of lightness, rather than being, dense with worry, with frustration, with anxiety all of the time. There's space for that too. But let these quiet spaces today while we practice be like a coming into the softer side of this human experience. And we'll move from, of course, this beautiful physical body with all of its magic and all of its functions and all of its sensations to move more internally and to the subtle aspects of ourselves and the energy that moves under the surface of our skin that is maybe invisible but present, potent. Bring the palms of your hands together to touch and lift your heart to meet the thumbs. And let your head, chin fall in towards your chest. It's nice to tuck the chin and press the skull bone backwards so you feel this often much needed length right up the spine. And take a sweet and full breath in through your nose. And a clearing sigh breath. All right, place your right hand flat over your chest so that kind of the meaty part of your thumb, the part that you press into when you're checking if your steak is cooked medium rare or all the way rare, press that part into the sternum bone, so the bone right at the center of the chest. And then reinforce that with the other hand. So top hand presses down, so you start to feel this pressure come down through the breastbone and into the heartbeat. And the pressure is there, but it's not like a forcefulness, just so that you can feel yourself making contact with heart space. And then make like 3 or 4 slow, smooth circles with that meaty part of your thumb pressing in towards the sternum, kind of like you're rubbing the skin on the surface of the bone. Keep breathing. So we're going clockwise, and when it makes sense, just do the same thing counterclockwise. Of course, it feels sweet and nurturing to massage and pressure into the heart space, but there's also lots of stuff connecting and intertwining and inserting and reinserting here along the sternum bones. So we're just nudging the tendinous connections of a lot of these muscles that hold a lot of tension in our body. Okay, we're gonna release the arms down by the sides. And then re-sprout your spine so neck is tall, spine is tall, chin is in. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale slowly, like there's a little cloud under your chin, drop your chin in towards your chest. Stay for the in-breath. And then as you exhale, pull up on your pelvic floor just a touch, hollow up your navel, and then refloat your skull up to neutral, eyes forward, chin forward. So there's like this levity, we're not working too hard into the neck. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, slowly allow your chin to soften in towards your heart space, looking down to the space that we just kind of massaged and prodded open a touch. Stay for your breath in. And then gather up along that golden thread, root of pelvis, root of navel, And there's firmness here, and then the head floats buoyantly back up to neutral. One more time, deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly allow chin to fall in towards your heart space. And we'll stay right here for the inhale. You can almost feel the vertebrae of the cervical spine airing out a touch. And then as you exhale, slowly shift your gaze towards your right armpit. Keep your head heavy, like your forehead is earthing down towards the ground without rounding out your upper back. Deep full breath in. And as you exhale, slowly gaze back down towards center like you're staring at your sternum. Fill up on the in-breath. And as you exhale, gaze the opposite way, eyes towards left armpit so that you feel from the point of your right collarbone to your right like jawbone start to lengthen. Inhaling. And as you exhale, slowly bring yourself back through to center, chin to chest, eyes to sternum bone. Breathe in. And then again, breathe out, sprout up from tail, through heart, through crown, head gets light. Eyes forward, nose forward, chin forward, deep breath in. Keep the length and the levity, and then as you exhale, the right ear falls towards your right shoulder. And like there's a little weight hanging off of your left shoulder, let it go a little bit heavier. Now stay for the breath in. And then as you exhale again, gentle, of course it's your neck, look down towards your right armpit. Soft eyes, soft jaw, soft throat, breathe in. And this time as you breathe out, turn your nose down and release your skull to fall, chin in, nose down, eyes towards the heart. Breathing in. As you breathe out, gather your navel and resprout your spine, head over heart, over hips, nose and eyes forward, inhaling. As you exhale, left ear towards left shoulder. Keep both shoulders relaxed, especially the right one, like there's somebody, like a child, dragging down on your right wrist. Let it be heavy. Stay for your breath in. And as you exhale, turn your gaze down towards your left armpit. Eyes down, chin down, deep breath in. As you exhale, slowly, sweetly, turn your eyes, nose down, gaze towards your heart, stay for your breath in. And then as you exhale, slowly resprout your spine, head over heart, over hips. One more thing, take your breath in. And then as you exhale again, right ear towards your right shoulder. And then rather than turning the gaze down, this time the left fingertips are going to slip off of your knee and crawl out towards the earth beside you on the left. So there's just a little bit more tension crossing the chest, crossing the upper part of your neck and the traps. If all of this is checking in and you're not feeling any pain, you might start to float your left fingertips up towards the left. If all of that is checking in, curl your fingertips up towards the sky and you should feel something from armpit through to palm of hand. There's like this dense pulsing that comes through for me anyway. All right, take a breath in. And then slowly as you exhale, replace your left fingertips down towards the ground. You're gonna place your right hand onto your head on the right side and then use the strength of your arm to pull your head back up, right? We just opened up a lot here. Bring your right hand back down, place your left hand where you found it on the knee, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, one more, tipping your left ear towards your left shoulder and letting your right shoulder go heavy, heavy. And of course you can stay if that's plenty, trying not to tip your chin up or down. So ear is coming right towards your shoulder and you can stay or you can tense your fingertips out towards the right now. Pucker up onto your palm. You'll probably feel something around the collarbone there. And you can stay right there or start to float your arm out towards the side, curling your fingertips up towards the ceiling maybe. And yeah, just depending on which hand is dominant or what side you sleep on at night, or which arm or leg you cross over the other. There's just going to be a different sensation side to side. We won't be here too long. As much as our necks get really tight, we do want some stability, like they're here to hold up, the neck is here to hold up the weight of the skull. So we don't want too much laxity. We'll take one more breath in. And then as you exhale, slowly please place your right fingertips down, place your left hand onto your left head, and press your head back upright. Okay, next thing is the right hand is going to come onto the left side of your chest, underneath the collarbone, but at the upper pec. And if you're wearing more clothes than I am at this point in time, try to make a skin-on-skin connection. So there's this like sticky friction. So if you have a shirt, just slip your hand underneath if you're comfortable with that. And then the pressure of this right hand is down into the muscle of your left pectoral and then downwards. And it's not much again. And then with that little anchor of right hand into left chest, please tip your chin up towards the sky and then just move your neck around. You can drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. That usually gives a bit of sweet tension. You can even try left ear to left shoulder. There's this really wonderful muscle that connects from the point underneath your palm all the way to the corner of your mouth on the left side, on this side anyway. So you should be feeling like quite a bit of tension as you tip your head up and back and then over towards the right. Give that space a little bit of your breath. And then slowly bring yourself back upright, and then we'll go to the other side. So left hand onto right pec, make a skin-on-skin connection if that feels good. And your right hand can just come down towards the ground. Press down, so like in towards your bones, and then drag down, so down towards your hips. And then allow your left ear to fall towards your left shoulder, maybe chin up towards the ceiling. Move and swivel and smooth this stickiness out. It's like taffy. We're working with the connective tissue a little bit here, which has a very different texture than just like muscles and tendons. And you might even feel that it's a little bit more dispersed. It's almost like warming as you start to open it up. But this is the stuff that connects everything to everything else within our body, so we want to keep it hydrated and malleable. Okay, slowly just let that go and bring your head back up to neutral and just pause for a moment. We just did a lot around the cervical spine and the upper chest, and this is the part of the body that tenses up when, many of us try to do anything. It's a protective mechanism of the body and it's for a purpose, but we just undid that. So I'll be quiet, you just feel. Okay, blink your eyes open. We'll move a little bit further down into the spine. So cup your hands onto your kneecaps. Draw your shoulders just softly down so there's no rigidity any which way. And then as you take your next breath in, cup onto your knees and stretch your collarbones wide and lift your chest up. You might even tip your chin up towards the sky if that feels good. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, reverse the motion like you're moving from your tailbone. So tip the coccyx, like the tip of your tailbone forward. And then from that space, round the rest of your spine. You might even look down towards your heart again. Go again, shoulder blades draw towards one another, air out the spine, look up, breathing in. And as you breathe out, round out your spine, think about backbone being like fluid. And keep moving like this. Try to slow down your breath as you move. And then slow down the movement to match your breath. Move slow enough so that you can kind of pinpoint the moments where your body starts to fall into a habitual way of moving. You move so slowly that you have time to experience like, oh, is it the right side of my spine or the left side of my spine that likes to take on the brunt of the work? Do my shoulders do a lot of the efforting here? Is there anything happening in my lower back? Do I rotate as I take this flexion and extension? Just like ask, or like if you don't know what questions to ask, just get a little bit more curious as to what side's doing more than the other. Let's circle, so clockwise, like you're stirring the spine in the bowl of your pelvis around that golden thread from sky to earth. And then switch directions. And then same kind of questions. You can try to feel from the ground up. So if like one sit bone is pressing down more actively, if one shoulder like moves really, really freely and the other one feels like it's stuck in cement. It's all just information to move forward with. Come back into center. Stretch both arms up high. Take a deep breath in. You can look up. And then as you exhale, please twist towards the left. So right hand onto your, to the right. So left hand, right knee, and right fingertips come back behind you. And then get tall through your spine. Take a breath in. And twist just a little bit deeper as you exhale. And I like to just keep moving in these really gentle ways. So take one more inhale to look up and over your right shoulder. And then with your exhale, turn back forward and bow over your shins. Again, rise up and look up and over your right shoulder, breathing in. And as you breathe out, round yourself in, and you can look down at your shins. And keep going like that, riding on top of your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Follow the breath in to rise up through your spine and rotate right. And as you exhale, just round yourself in. Let's switch. So rise up through your spine, left fingertips come behind you, right hand onto left knee, get tall, breathing in. And just stay in the twist as you exhale. One more deep inhale. And then we'll move through as you exhale, round yourself forward, let your eyes come down to earth. Lift up, breathe in. And round out, breathe out. Again. And again. And one more time. All right. Come up through center, rise both arms up towards the ceiling, look up, breathe in. And then as you exhale, right fingertips come out and over towards the right. You can tense your fingers or flatten your palm, and then the left arm stretches up and overhead. And as you reach your left arm up and overhead, get heavy through your left hip bone and stretch out through like the fingerprints. Big breath in. And then as you exhale, round out your spine and reach your left fingertips forward and to the right. Tuck your chin too. All right, so uncurl your heart, draw your left elbow point back, chest is wide, deep breath in. And as you exhale, round your way in, tuck your chin. One more, unwind, deep inhale, breath. And one more as you exhale, round yourself out. Good, gather your way up, stretch both arms up, look up, breathe in. And let's go right to the other side. Left hand comes down, fingertips or palm of hand as your right arm reaches up and overhead. And then you get really buoyant through the space between your rib bones on your right side. Take your inhale breath. And then as you exhale, round your way in and reach your right fingertips forward and to the left. Unwind, breathe in. And as you exhale, once more, let's lift up through the chest, draw your shoulder blades towards one another, lift up the heart, big breath in. And as you breathe out, round yourself in, tuck your chin, right fingertips are like peeling towards the front left corner of your room. And then rise up through both arms, reach up, look up, deep breath in. As you exhale again, let's just land for a moment, hands through heart, palms on your knees. And like find a good fit, like cup the palms of your hands over top of your kneecaps. So there's this closed circuit of physical energy, and you're just here to be within it in this experience with your breath. All right, so we'll keep moving down. We're going to get into the hips a little bit. So if you're sitting on something, it's nice to just press it off towards the side. And we'll start with the right shin forward and the left shin back. So right shin is going to be about parallel with the top edge of your mat. I'm just facing the long edge for, viewing purposes. You can be too. And then your back leg is in the same kind of alignment. I'll show you. So heel is towards your bum, knee is bent, and my foot is pointed, but for the next series of poses, curl your toes so that you're flexing your foot, and this will be like just more comfortable for your knee, and it'll protect your knee a little bit. So we have heels towards the front inner thigh on the front leg, and then heel towards the bum on the back leg. Okay, and then we're gonna bring the left hand onto your right kneecap, and right fingertips come back behind you. It's like that twist again, right? So this is a nice one to just kind of feel some compare and contrast. So bringing your left hand onto your right knee, just twist over your shoulder and find a space on the wall or the room around you where you can comfortably twist without cranking anything. Okay, and then come back to center. I'm gonna place my left hand onto my right shoulder. And we're gonna move with the breath. So as you inhale, twist up and over your right shoulder, same kind of feeling as those twists, but as you do this left thigh will start to roll forward. You can't see it so much because I'm wearing these pants, but hips kind of doing this motion, half of it, I'm exaggerating so that you can see. Okay, so let's start again, left hand onto right shoulder. And as you inhale, twist up and over your right shoulder and look up and over towards the right, and as you're doing that, the left hip rolls forward. And just stay for your exhale breath. Now we'll go back and forth, hand is on shoulder. As you breathe in, cross your chest through center and look up and over your left shoulder. Keep your legs as they are. And as you exhale, we're going to come into the twist. So looking up and over towards the right, and let your left hip roll forward. Again, breathing in, unwind, look up and over your left shoulder. And breathing out, we come back into the rotation and allow your left hip to roll forward. And keep going just like this. Keeping your back foot flexed. And getting this sense of experiencing your body from the inside. So even though you may not know exactly where certain tissues are in your body, where certain muscles attach, where certain bones line up, you don't necessarily need to, because it is really subjective body to body. So what you need to be interested in right now, if you'd like, is what's happening in your body. What parts of your body are doing this action. And if there's a part of your body that seems like it wants to take over, or if there's a part of your body that you're feeling that you haven't felt in a really long time. Each time we rotate, we just get a little bit more information and a little bit more depth. On the next exhale, come back into that twist, roll your left hip forward. And let's just stay on the next inhale. Please lift up your chest, and the left elbow is going to lift up too. You can even lift up your eyes. And as you exhale, just round yourself forward and down, so we're leaning towards the right. And then again, lift up your chest, lift up left elbow. And as you exhale, slowly round your way in. One more time to lift up, breathe in. And one more time to round yourself in. Let's just do a couple of washes. Inhale, again, rotate up and over to the left. And as you exhale, rotate over towards the right. Just one more. Come up and over left, breathe in. And breathing out, please rotate over towards the right side. And come back to neutral for just a moment, and then we're gonna bring the left hand onto your right knee again, right fingertips back behind you, and let's see if there's a little bit more space to twist now. Without forcing or cranking, if you can see a space along the wall or the room around you, that's a little bit further behind you, maybe. And then we'll unwind and come to the opposite side. So left shin is forward now, and the right heel comes towards your bum. Make sure that both feet are flexed, so toes are curling back towards the shin rather than pointing the toes. And then heel to like inner groin on this front leg. Let's try to take a little like before snapshot. So right hand comes onto your left knee, and left fingertips are back behind you now. And we'll just take a twist, and without cranking your neck, just see what you see from the spinal rotation. And then keep that in your mind's eye, and we'll just move through. So right hand comes onto your left shoulder, and take a breath in first to look up and over your left shoulder. And as you exhale, just stay. And moving on the breath, as you inhale, unwind and look up and over the right. And as you exhale, rewind and look up and over the left. Inhaling to the right. And exhaling, twisting left. Oh yeah, and as you twist towards the left, roll your right hip forward and down. Okay, so keep going just like this. Experiencing yourself from the inside, so it doesn't matter, it truly doesn't, what it looks like. On each repetition, maybe feeling the sensation broaden, making sure you're protecting back knee by flexing back foot and pressing down from the inner ankle. Just breathing in, twist, breathing out. Let's do a few more. And where you feel it is exactly where you're supposed to. So some people will be like, I feel this in my chest, or I feel this in my lower back, or in my glutes, or in my hip flexors, and it's all right. Okay, one more. Look up and over towards the right, and then look up and over towards the left, and then stay to the left. As you inhale, we'll lift up the right elbow and lift up the eyes and arc the upper spine. Try not to dump this into the lower back. And then as you exhale, round yourself out. Again, like that, elbow up, back bend, eyes up. And as you exhale, rounding out, press your heart backwards. Let's do one more just like this, lift. And as you exhale, round. And wash through as you inhale, elbow back in towards the right. And as you exhale, up and over towards the left. Again, making sure you're rolling that back hip forward. Yeah, one more time. Okay. Come back through center. And then place your right hand onto your left knee, and left fingertips tense back behind you, and just take that twist and see if there's any more space. Sometimes we think that if we're stuck in a twist, it's a spine thing, but often it's a restriction in the hips, so just something to feel through. Okay, that's enough up here. Come down onto your back and keep your props handy. So blanket, burritos, blocks, bolsters, whatever. I'll give you lots and lots of options. So we're going to start down onto the back. Okay, and just take a moment here to feel your spine imprint into the ground below you and anything else. So it's nice to take a moment, again, just to sense which heel is heavier on the floor, which side of your pelvis on the back side. If your sacrum is tipping up onto one edge, the back of your rib basket, the back of your shoulder blades, the back of your skull. And then place your fingertips onto the hip bones, and it's nice to bend the knees for this. So fingertips are on hip bones, and your thumbs kind of connect to the space right below your lowest most ribs that you can feel. And then as you inhale, please anchor your tailbone down towards the ground, and you'll feel the space in the palms of your hands expand. So it's like the ribs go upwards, hip bones go downwards, belly expands, lower back kind of contracts. This is an anterior pelvic tilt. So it's an arch of the spine. The lumbar spine is already in this position, so we don't always want to be right here. And then as you exhale, just do the reverse motion. So it's like tucking your tailbone forward between your kneecaps, lower spine goes flush towards the ground, and the back of your ribs go down and widen. And then just move like this. So as you inhale, you lift the belly and expand it as you anchor the tailbone down and chest maybe lifts. And then as you exhale, rounding out your spine until it goes flat and kind of irons out along the earth. And just keep rocking the pelvis like this. It's really worthwhile to find mobility in the pelvis and find mobility in its relationship to the spine. For some of us, we linger too long in the anterior pelvic tilt with our tailbones tipping back and our chest lifting up. And then all of this pressure is forcing into this back bend that the lower back is already in, which isn't great for it. And then the opposite is true too, right? We can start to find too much roundness or flatness. Primarily happens at the upper back, but it can happen here at the lower back too. And then hip flexors get super tight and we're not breathing deeply. This is a lot of what's happening when we're sitting all day, right? So just finding, like, we're trying to remember how to move this body in all of its wild animalistic ways so that it doesn't land in a state of retraction for too long or fixation, so that we can have the ability to readjust in the ways that support our spine and support our bodies in general. Okay, so that's pelvic rocking for a while. Come back, feel any residue along the back of your sacrum, and if anything reverberated up your spine. You're going to keep the left foot flat down towards the ground, and then try not to rotate your pelvis side to side, but as you inhale, let your right knee slowly spill out towards the right. You might feel some resistance or gripping from the inner thigh, and that's okay. Just go as far as you can go. And then as you exhale, slowly call yourself right back. Right knee points up towards the sky. Just go again a few more times. As you inhale, roll to the outer edge of your right foot and the right knee falls out towards the right. And then as you exhale, we just slowly zip it back up, knee points up. Okay, just a few more like that. One more. Knee slowly, sweetly spills outward. And then slowly, sweetly pulls back in. Now we're going to let the right knee fall out just like we were. This time let it stay. And outstretch your left foot. So toes of the left foot point up, but then eventually just let them flop out so we're not super active into the left leg. And then you probably don't need to use your hands for this, but you'll press your right foot into your left inner thigh. Maybe not press, just land it there. And then play with which angle best kind of suits you today. So heel can come up to your inner groins. I find that the lower down the foot is, the more sensation there is. Now, if you're here and your knee is floating like high off of the ground, this is a really good place for a blanket or a towel or a something just to support you here so that there's not a ton of space between your knee and the ground below. Okay, because then we're just hanging in joints and that's not really what we want to be doing. Now we're going to be staying for a couple of minutes in this fallen tree, Supta Vrikshasana pose, inner thigh stretching sweetly. Now, if you're here and you're happy and you're feeling everything that you could ever want to be feeling, then please just stay. I'll give you one option to deepen it, sweeten it just a little bit. And the arms will reach up and overhead, and you can grasp onto opposite elbows. And then just start to walk your upper body up and over towards the left side. And that's all you gotta do to create a little bit more tension and space from right hip bone all the way up to right elbow point. So now we're gonna land. I'm gonna get a sense for if there's any resistance that is here in the body, or if this is a really sweet place for you to settle into. And what might be something that deepens your experience without changing anything on the outside. Start to soften your abdominal cavity and direct your breath there. So it's like when you breathe in, the belly rises up and fills out, and then as you exhale, it subsides back. We're touching into some really sweet attachment points of not only the adductors, the inner thigh, but the hip flexors as well. And many of those insert like to the lower back or deep in our pelvis, and all of that is tensed out and exposed right here. So as we breathe into the belly, there's room for the muscle of the diaphragm and some of the abdominal muscles to kind of nudge up against insertions of these tight hip flexor muscles, and then they get this little memo to release when that happens. Let's just take one more really nice and full breath in here. And one clearing, cooling side breath. I'm going to add one more layer. So the right foot that is currently planted on the inner line of your left leg, you're going to work it towards straight. And if you're side bending up and over towards the left, you're probably already feeling some length riding up the right side of your body. So this is the banana pose now. If I looked down at you from, top down, there would be a clear swoop from right ankle bone, knife edge of foot, all the way up to your right elbow. You can maybe walk your shoulder blades down your back if that feels more supportive for you. And then finally, right ankle can cross up and over your left ankle, and that should give you some really sweet traction along the outer edge of your right hip. Making sure that both of your bums are down towards the ground, heavy through the shoulder blades too. Yeah, just linger. Opening up through side body is always time well spent. All right, and then we'll slowly start to call ourselves back to center. Undo your arms, crawl your upper body and head back to center. Undo your ankles. Let's bend the knees, place your feet to the outer rails of the mat, and start to wash your knees side to side. Giving a little clearing or massage to the outer edges of your hips. See what happens when you kind of remix these washes side to side with those anterior and posterior pelvic tilts. So you can try like an anterior pelvic tilt when your knees fall over one way or the other. You can try the posterior pelvic tilt when your knees point back up towards the ceiling, or vice versa. Just kind of see if you can integrate rotation of the hips, tilts of the spine, just to have like a different experience of these sensations. All right, come back, knees point up towards the ceiling. Take a moment to just feel side to side. And then keep your right foot just where it is, and as you inhale, slowly let your left knee fall out towards the left. And as you exhale, you bring your left knee back up towards the ceiling. And then do that a few more times, inhaling, knee falls outward. Left knee that is, and then as you exhale, slowly just calling it back in. So you feel this like compare and contrast between working and efforting through the inner thighs, having some muscular activation, and then you feel that sweet lengthening. And I don't know about you, but every time I let my knee fall out towards the side, it's like there's another part of my body that is resisting. It's like jerky and tense. So I step into it, I lean into the movement a little bit more trustingly, so that I can communicate with my body and with my nervous system and the faculties that control the tissues of my body, and be like, no, this is actually okay. You don't have to grip on right there. You can soften around those edges. Let's do one more. Let your left knee fall out towards the left. We're not symmetrical, so you might have a tight side. This is my tight side. And extend your opposite leg, so right leg goes long and the left foot finds its way up along the inner right thigh. Relax your right leg all the way. And let the bones drop and let your foot flop out. And then place your left foot, anywhere along the leg that offers sensation that is sustainable. And then again, if your knee is kind of like up here, and if it was up here, my inner thigh would be working. It would be like a Jane Fonda exercise. But what I want is for those muscles to passively lengthen. So if the knee isn't quite close to the ground and you're not feeling that passive lengthening, and passive means that you're not efforting at all, then you can slip something underneath of your knee or upper left thigh, so that that leg is nice and supported, so that it can let go. When things feel supported, they let go. Who knew? And infuse your breath into the sensations, into the moment, into this body. While you're here, you can stay, or if you liked that other layer of reaching arms up and overhead, hold it onto your opposite elbow with the opposite hand and just crawl your upper body up and over towards the right. And we'll get there eventually if you'd rather just stay where you are right now. A reminder to maybe settle into abdominal breathing, belly breathing. And notice if there's any shift in the sensation. Find a little bit more ease under your skin, a little bit less effort. Like, where and how can you do less? And then we'll start to shift in from tree to banana. Stretch your left leg long to meet your right leg. Oh, and you'll probably feel a little bit more tension find its way into your left side. Lung, armpit. The armpits are like notoriously understretched. And then you can stay with your ankle bones touching, or you can even cross your left ankle over top of your right ankle, which gives like this hammocking experience from left ankle bone, outer ankle bone, to left hip bone, to left armpit, to left elbow. All right. A couple more breaths here. Can you fall just a little bit heavier? And one more deep breath in. And then as you exhale, start to undo the ankles, undo the spine, come onto your back, and just take a moment, hands on body or outstretched. Before you wash anything out, before you shift or shake, just feel. Okay, and then you can take those windshield wipers side to side again if that felt really good. I'm going to show you another thing just in case you're looking for something different before we sit up for a sec. So arms come down by your side, relax your upper back bones, arm bones. And then find the skin of your heels, so where your heels are in the ground. Keep your toes pointing up towards the sky. And then with your heels staying connected down towards the ground, just start to point and like dorsiflex and plantar flex your feet. And just keep doing that. And you can see it in my body. The rest of your body starts to shake and rock along the earth, back and forth and back and forth, all the way up into the skull. And we're going to stay for just a little bit so that you can feel, if you're with me, if you can feel like this vibration. And I've heard that like rocking is beneficial because what it does, and I mean, you can Google this. This is something I learned in school, but what this rocking back and forth does, if we can go from heels all the way to skull, it starts to stir the fluid of your inner ear, and that stimulates like a resting and a releasing into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is, you know, a worthwhile thing to do. So just rock a little bit more back and forth and back and forth. And I know your shins and calves might be like, why? But just rock for like 5 more seconds. And in that, take a deep breath in. And let your breath go. And then this is the sweet spot. You just stop, you pause, and like something flushes through you from skull, through heart, through roots, through skin and bones. Just feel. All right, so bend your knees and roll into fetal position. And prop yourself up into a seat just for a second. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to find a towel or a blanket roll. And I have mine kind of at the ready here. And what we're gonna do, we'll start off, just with right side down onto it. So find your armpit, and then just maybe like a hand below your armpit is where the bolster is going to land. Okay, so we land that space down so that the right arm can reach out ahead of us. And it's nice to have something at your head. I don't have something handy, so it'll be fine. But the movement we're gonna take is right arm out ahead of us, and then left fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to bring the left arm back behind us as much as is possible, but there's like this very distinct difference I want you to experience. So rather than letting your arm fall like dead weight behind you, knees are bent, right? The left arm reaches up towards the sky, and then start to rotate from your thoracic spine, so the space right behind your heart, to open up your chest. So it's not a chest stretch. I'll say that again, it's not a chest stretch. It's an inquiry into the rotation of your thoracic spine. So inhale, come up, back up. You can reach straight up, or you can bring your hand down. And then again, as you exhale, the left arm stretches up and back, but we're rotating here, so the arm's not doing the moving, the back of the heart and the spine are doing the moving as you open. 2 more, come up, inhale. And as you exhale, slowly start to open. 1 more. And 1 more. Okay. Call yourself back into that fetal position. Just take a moment, fold yourself in. And then I like to start from scratch, so press yourself upright. And we're going to come to the other side, so just place your blanket burrito to the opposite side of your mat, so your legs around. And find that space, so that like a hand's width underneath of your armpit is what's going to land onto the bolster blanket. Left arm reaches out ahead of you, knees are bent, and then the right hand stacks on top of your left hand. As you inhale, reach your right arm up high towards the sky, and then keep opening as you exhale your breath. And again, I could drop my arm back here and I could feel this like honestly overstretch in my pec. Or I could pause before the stretch and try to make the movement from the thoracic spine, and it might not be much, and that's okay. So call yourself back up as you breathe in. Arm can go straight up, or you can reach your arm forward. I'll go straight up. And then as you exhale again, allow your shoulder blades to draw towards one another. Imagine the dense thoracic spine rotating to create this movement. 2 more, rise up. As you exhale, find that rotation. And 1 more time. Beautiful. As you exhale, open. And then come on up. We'll come back from like our starting point just to feel. Okay. And then our final pose before we take Shavasana is going to be I'll offer a half frog variation, and you'll kind of understand why we just did a little intermission for the thoracic spine. Okay, so now I like to fold the blanket up because for the half frog pose, the knee and the inner knee is probably going to land off of your mat, which means it won't have any support. And even then, it's nice to have some cushioning underneath that portion of the knee. So you'll come down onto your belly, take your time, be gentle. We just did a lot of spine cracking. And yeah, you can just rest on your belly for a sec. Letting your hips drop, letting your heart drop. I'll start with the right inner thigh. I like to just pillow my head with the left hand as I start to set myself up. So have your blanket, your cushion on the right side of your mat, and then bend your right knee out towards the right, making sure that your knee is in line with your hip, not further up. And then heel is in line with your knee. Oh, and this is the best. Just let your pelvis drop down. I mean, it's the best if you don't have super tight inner thighs. But it should feel really nice to stretch this kind of tender part of the body without too much force or over efforting. Just letting gravity do it. So this is like the first little flavor, and if you're happy to be here puddled and embraced by the earth below you, then you can just stay. This is plenty. And if you'd like to move forward just a little bit, Or move in just another direction, you can take something like a Sphinx pose in your upper body. Elbows can crawl a little bit further forward, it's chill. Some people love this for the lengthening up across the front of the pelvis, kind of like what we experienced in the supine tree. But for some of us, like the compression in the lower back is just too much. If you're feeling that compression, you can again just crawl your elbows forward a smidge. You can come all the way down and puddle. Or what might be nice is just to press your hip bones down and find like a little bit of activity and traction. Elbows draw towards the hip bones, so there's this sensation, this sense of lengthening. I'm going to show you my favorite thing to do in this half frog pose. So again, options are plentiful, all the way down onto the belly, up into the Sphinx pose, or so the left hand creeps forward. You can come up onto your fingertips, and then the right arm threads underneath of your left armpit. Left hand comes down to be a cushion for your right cheek. And your right palm is facing up towards the ceiling. So now you're, opening up across the shoulders. There's some rotation in your spine. The inner thigh is still having an experience. And then relax the inner arch of your foot, the inner ankle bone, up along the inner line of your leg, your thigh, inner groins. Get heavier through the pelvis. And allow your breath to move through you. I always think when I see people in this pose, it looks like when in Family Guy, one of the characters falls down and then they end up all like mangled in their fallen down shape. That's what I think this looks like. It's what I try to embody. Let's take 3 more breaths, all yours, all you. Deep breath in. And a full. Now, if you're taking this tangled variation, we'll come out as we went in. Please lift your head. Place your left hand to the left side of your mat. And then press down into it and forward to release your right arm. Come through Sphinx. And slowly extend your right leg back behind you. Like to come down onto the belly, let the opposite cheek rest down towards the ground and just rock your hips side to side to side. And then land. Feel the residue. And to the opposite side. The left knee bends out towards the left. I usually come up into something like a Sphinx pose to set it up. So inner knee, I'm going to use my little rug on this side. Inner knee lands to the earth. So from ankle to knee, there's a 90-degree angle. And you can always bring your left knee down, but try not to bring your knee up so that it's shortening the left side waist. So knee stays either in line with your hip or slightly below it. And the right leg extends back behind you, and you can puddle. You can let your cheek rest down and let your inner thigh breathe. Or if you have space for a little bit of energetic activation, or like a yin style of taking this pose, you'll come up onto forearms. And so it's like Sphinx, and you feel the lengthening across your belly. across the front of your hips, and probably more sensation to the inner thigh. Try not to dump into shoulders. Try not to crank out your neck. Find this like regal position from, base of pelvis up along the spine, up into the back of the heart. There's a stability that comes through, I find, with the Sphinx pose. Once you have that perfect, not perfect alignment, but just perfect understanding of what makes you feel supported, because elbows can come further forward, or they can be right underneath of your shoulders. And you can stay, or I'll guide you into the last little variation, the family guy pose, the fallen family guy pose. Right hand forward, cling down into fingertips, lift your elbow so that there's a window of space for your left arm to thread through. Back of your left shoulder is down, left palm is facing up. And the back of your right hand serves as a pillow or a cushion for just your head to fall heavy. And if that's not enough of a cushion, like if you're up here and you're like, cool, my head weighs 15 pounds, you can bring like a block underneath of your head too. Again, like it doesn't need to be yoga props. It doesn't even need to be a yoga mat. Just kind of make it work with what you have around you. What's that saying, bloom where you are planted? And consciously relax your left inner thigh. And receive and release the breath. As gentle and as kind as can be. I'll say it again, consciously relax your left inner thigh. Weave breath into the open space. Take one more deep and full breath in. And exhaling, clear, shed. All right. Softly, slowly lift your head, look straight down. And place your right hand to the mat, press forward and down until elbow lifts. Unthread your left arm, stack your forearms, stretch your left leg back behind you. Rock your hips. You can either keep your legs straight, or sometimes it's nice to bend the knees and wash your heels side to side. And it feels really therapeutic for the back, but it also gives the hip flexors and the quadriceps this really sweet massage. Okay. One more thing, place your palms underneath of your shoulders, take a breath in. And as you exhale, press back towards child's pose or into child's pose. So when I say towards child's pose, that can be like a kind of harsh transition from kind of an extension into full flexion. So knees come together, slowly make your way back. You can tuck your toes and drag your hips towards your heels, listening to the body, not to me, kind of to me. And then untuck your toes if there's space for you there, and you'll just pour yourself into this like surrender shape. And again, if you're, easing your way back into your lower back and you don't want to come all the way down, and just bring something underneath of your forehead and sink in. I like to, if you have room in your shoulders, place the heels of your hands to the low of your back. You can imagine like warmth or light pouring through palms of hands into base of pelvis, base of spine, sacrum bone under your fingertips. Give your lower back a little bit of a rub if you can reach. And slowly rise yourself up into a seat. we'll start to set up for Shavasana. So take your time to, if you have all of these household items nearby, a bolster under the knees feels nice, a blanket over the chest. So once you find your way down to earth, give yourself a moment or two to land here, to feel the residue in your body from releasing, from holding, from offering it your breath. As you take this next breath in, trace it up the soles of your feet, up your leg bones, spine, across from heart to fingertips, throat to brain cavity. And then let that attention, that light, dim and soften as you fall into your rest. Consciously relax your muscles from your bones. Consciously ungrip the control of your breath. Acknowledge that you have shifted into a state of rest and repair, and I'll bring you back when it's time. And ease your way back into this body in this moment. Wriggle and breathe, and in the kindest, sweetest way, start to call yourself back. Tracing fingers and toes through the air. Receive a stretch with your next breath. Lengthen legs, lengthen arms, sideways. If there's a yawn, take a yawn. Good, and then, when you're ready, find your way slowly, sweetly into the fetal position. Lingering there and just letting yourself drop in. Drop in. Remember that this is your natural state here, calm and quiet and in a state of ease. When I say drop in, I mean like dig your heels into that reminder Before you rise up, meet me in your seat and take that sweetness with you. When you land in your seat, place your hands over your heart. Take a full breath in, like you're filling up the palms of your hands with your air. Just one clearing, cathartic sigh breath. Thank you so much for spending this evening with me, for practicing, and I will see you next time. Namaste.